Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's market color session. My name is Sabia B, and I'll be taking the first half of today's analysis, which will be covering commodity currencies, after which my colleague is going to come on board and do his own analysis on indices. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here. Okay, so let's quickly do a recap. For last week's analysis, the last one on commodity currencies being on Thursday, we expected those different asset classes, AU, NU to buy and USD CAD to sell, and they delivered amazingly well. We sent the recap to the market color group chats. That did great, right? So that has happened. What do we now have in store for us today? Let us see what the market has to happen. Look at that beautiful USD CAD sold and how NZUSD bought and AUDUSD also bought. AUDUSD even bought more. But remember, we stated that it was looking like a buy to sell. So let us now do a fresh analysis and see what the market has for us today. I'm looking at the H1 time frame and just trying to understand what price is currently doing. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and delete all of these markups on the chart and start today's analysis, where you can see how precisely price traded into a particular level here and is starting to drop from that level, which is what we expected price to do. But for the sake of those of us who were not around as at last week's analysis, let us start from the top, shall we? Let's start from the top. So I am now looking at AUDUSD on the H4 time frame with fresh eyes, trying to see what the market has in store for me today. And what I'm seeing is after the buy we expected to happen, price has not given us a new sunshine, which basically means that people who bought this move all the way back up have not fully taken profit yet. So looking at H1 as well, looking at H1, what do we see on this time frame too? Now on H1, we've now seen a retracement, new sunshine printed, and a possible move to occur might be this, right? To have a clearer picture, I'll go on M5. You're going to see how I do a step-by-step approach of trying to make sense of what the market has in store for me on a daily basis. So I'm just going to quickly mark out what I always do on the M5 time frame, the levels which are yesterday's high, yesterday's low, as well, which are basically support and resistance zones. Then I'll go ahead and mark out day before yesterday's high and day before yesterday's low, which is exactly what we have here. You'd see how price retraced into day before yesterday's high and is already selling off that level. The final level I'm marking out is now day before yesterday's low. So what am I saying? This gives me more insight to see what price is going to be doing immediately. As you can see, price has violated through the first point of interest, tested it, dropped, broke through this level, came back to retest, and we've now seen price doing this. So if price is going to come back and violate through this level, we know that AUDUSD is going to be selling back into the trend, which is 23 pips thereabouts, not much to be honest. But I'm expecting AUDUSD, provided it is able to break through this strong support level on M5, it's going to sell into this zone where we'll now see the next resistance. And if price is able to break through this level, we should be seeing a continuous sell of AUDUSD. However, if this support hold and it gives us more insight for us to continue this particular bias, then we'll be seeing that AUDUSD will just start to buy in a bid. This is in an attempt to be as flexible as possible, right? An attempt to be as flexible as possible. So sunshine printed, it has retraced as we expected, bought all the way in here. Are we going to see a sell? We would see a sell if price violates this zone. So if price comes and breaks through this level, best believe AUDUSD is going to continue to sell. But if we do not see this level hold, then we know the opposite may be what will be happening. But I'm thinking price, all things being equal, price should come and violate through these levels and give us some drops to the downside. NZUSD from the H4 as well, quickly. So looking at the H4 time frame on the NZUSD, sorry for that short break. Okay, so I'm looking at this now. Sunshine printed, price bought the way we expected it to, starting to react, but you not buy back into the zone we expected it to buy back into before we see the sell resumption. So is it possible to see more digs of NZUSD to the upside? It's likely. For those of us who do not know or are familiar with indicators, whenever we see this particular sunshine printed on the H4, it helps us to know that there is still more room. So if this was printed around here, then it's safe to say that we'll see more buys. But because it has not been printed, same thing on AUD/USD, that's why I think there's still more room for it to dig above before we see the downward move, especially for NZD/USD, because AUD/USD already traded into a good enough level, something we marked as a point of interest for it to continue to sell. But in this case, it has not tapped into that zone fully. So, and no sunshine. So could we see more buys of NZD/USD somewhere into this level before we see a continuous sell? Same thing for H1, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and mark out my new point of interest on this particular time frame. All of these have served their purpose. Let's adjust for today's analysis. So we now have three major POIs on NZD/USD. First POI is 0.58404. The second one is 0.59060. And the third point of interest is 0.59495. These are typically zones and not specific price points, by the way. But yes, if price breaks above, which it already did, and looking like a retest of our first point of interest, it is likely that we see NZD/USD do this before we see more sales. Even if you're not using the indicator strategy and you're using a tool like the Fibonacci retracement tool, you still expect it to trade into a good enough zone. So if price is going to retrace back in here, this could be what the ICT traders call the OTEs for us to continue to sell. But bear in mind that price has already done this. So for now on H1, this is my major point of interest or my major concern. Are you going to break below to continue selling, or are you going to break above and buy back into my pullback indicator, which also has a previous support that would be extra confluence to serve as more resistance for price to eventually trade down? I'm going to be watching to see what price does here. Now, for more clarification, I can now go on the M5 and mark out the same thing I did on NZD, on AUD/USD. Please, if you don't have the indicators, don't let it be an hindrance to why you don't take advantage of what we're discussing. What you want to take note of, as I always say, is the price point. So when price returns into that level, you can now add extra confidence depending on how you trade and do with this information as you like. Okay. Totally authorized to take the trades. Okay, so on NZD/USD on the M5 time frame, I've now marked out the 4 basic points of interest. If price is going to break this zone, if it breaks below this level, then we may see more sell-offs of NZD/USD. What makes us confident in taking certain trades when we see price giving us some bias to both directions is the confluence. That is why for the indicator strategy, we don't use pending limits, buy limits, sell limits. No, we wait for price to trade into those points of interest. And if we see confirmation on M1 before we now go ahead to take our final decision. Okay, are you breaking lower? Fine. Am I seeing confirmation to sell? Perfect. And I'm going to take this trade. If not, I'm going to wait. Now looking at M1, NZD/USD, price has broken above. If we see this, it is possible that price does this and then give us a quick buy above, which is very likely. But we're going to be waiting to see what happens, right? Now for USD CAD, what am I seeing on H4 time frame? So predominantly everything is downward, but if you're looking at minor structures, for those of us who are conversant with minor structures, you see that price has been gradually buying. And we stated from our last analysis that we're looking at a sell to continue to buy. Did the sell happen? Yes, it did, beautifully. Okay, now we're now seeing like a buy resumption starting to happen from our previous point of interest, similar to what we saw on NU, similar to what we saw on AU. Price is now starting to react off this level. On the H1 now, this is the point of interest now. Price broke below, came, did all of this dilly-dallying, eventually has broken above. Now we see a new sunshine. So price has reacted off our last analysis, and this buy has done as much as 36 pips. But because the market does not move in straight lines, and looking at this new sunshine printed, is it possible to see a temporal sell of USD CAD before the buy continues? It is possible. It is likely. And is it possible to keep selling and continue the 4-hour major structure? Also possible, right? So until a new sunshine is printed, that will now give me even more confidence in knowing that the move is gradually ending. But because no new sunshine has been printed, this could just be a quick buy for us to see another push downward. But if we took advantage of when price came here, you've made money, you've made some money from the market. So even if it eventually sells back down somewhere around our second point of interest, we are still good. Do you understand? Okay, on the M5 time frame now. M5 time frame. Okay, so what am I doing on this time frame? It's the exact same thing I do every time, different asset classes, marking out yesterday's high, yesterday's low, and day before yesterday's high and low. So day before yesterday's level is in confluence with our H1 point of interest. Extra confluence at yesterday's low. So two confluences here, two confluences here. This is what price is doing. Price has traded into our 5-minute trend. Is also at a resistance zone. Price eventually breaks through. We'd see a sell down into at least the pullback indicator, somewhere around 1.38436. And then either support holds. Look at that, previous resistance puts on current support, or it's going to trade into the next level that could serve as previous resistance to support as well. So all of the levels we mark out on the M5 are basically just support resistance zones that we're expecting to see what price does. We know what price does anytime you see all of these support and resistance. You either, if it is a support, either holds. If it's a resistance, resistance may become support. Okay, so these are markups from last week's analysis. They are still on the chart and have not been cleaned. You can see how price broke above, came back to test here, one of our major key POIs, and then just did all of this before we now saw our major sell downward. So this is my bias. I want to see more clarity on these asset classes before I decide to stick to one, because what we're seeing from H4, no sunshine has been printed, and when no sunshine has been printed, it could just be a temporal retracement for us to now see more moves. I'm trying to open the FAR time frames again, so you can quickly go through them. All right, sunshine printed, it has retraced. Is price going to keep buying? It is likely to, right? From this zone, it is very likely to. But when we see temporal sell-offs before the buy is continued, NZUSD, what are we saying? We expected the buy, for the buy to continue. It was a buy to sell move. So are you ready to start selling? We want to see more confirmation. AUDUSD, same thing. We expected the buy. Are you ready to start selling? I want to see more confirmation on M5 time frame across these different asset classes, even more specifically on the M1. So I can now continue this move. So summary is I am more tilted towards the downside for AU and NU and towards the upside for USD card. USD card will see a temporary buy. And when I see more confirmations, I will be taking advantage of this quick analysis session. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, this is the perfect time to ask. If this was helpful, please drop an emoji in the chat box before we proceed into the next half of today's market color session. Hi, Mr. Fong. Good morning. Hi, Ezekiel. I'm seeing a few familiar names.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. Okay. So can we proceed to the next session? Which time frame is good for time frame? I presume you mean which time frame is good for entry? So this is for using the indicator. I don't know if you have the indicator. I'm not sure you're a student of the VFT Academy. Yes, entry, I presume that. Okay. So I'm not sure you have the indicators, but for us using the indicators, we prefer to enter on M1. We see more confirmations. We enter using this strategy on the M1 time frame. And then for the different strategies, just depends on how everybody else trades. For someone like Demola might say 5 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on what suits that trading style. I'm sure by now you know that different people trade differently on the trading floor. And good thing, we teach all of this in our first bootcamp course. We basically learn how literally every single person on the floor trades. And then you can now decide to stick to the one that you prefer. But yes, for the all-weather strategy, I like to enter when I see confirmations on the M1. It just helps me to reduce my risk. It makes my risk more defined so that I'm not risking too much to get what I'm looking for. So it gives me a tight stop loss. So yes, M1 basically. All right, so without taking too much more time, because this is already 8:47, we'll go on a very short break to return in less than a minute and wrap up this session and also look at Indices. So thank you so much for giving me your attention. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be back very, very shortly. Cheers and God bless.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second part of the market color this morning. How are we doing? Hope we're good. Hope we're fine. This morning, we'll be looking at US 30, NAS 100, and S&P 500 in the US equities market, seeing how those markets are performing. It's been quite an interesting week this week. On Tuesday, we were able to make massive profit from those markets from the analysis we did. All right, so let me just open my chart. Calculating all together, I think we did up to 13R on Tuesday from the trade setup we gave. We did up to 13R. It's very, very, very significant. Very, very significant. And it was shared here in the New York, London and New York session. I shared all of the analysis here. So just like a breakdown of that. And then US 30 to start with, you had US 30. As at last week, US 30 was, okay, see the comment. Okay. As at last week, US 30 was still at this zone. Where is the zone? Somewhere around here, right? On the 15-minute time frame. Let me break it down. On the 15-minute time frame, we're around somewhere here. Trying to look for where exactly now. Okay. I think around somewhere here, right? No, this zone. I think this is the zone, this entire zone here. 30 minutes. So, okay, I've seen it. This zone here, right? US 30 was bearish at that moment. Remember, we said that we wanted to start catching both buys and sales. This other block here, and then we have this level of liquidity here, right? And then we enter with liquidity entry into this market. We had an overall target, but then price just did 1:5R, which for me, it's a good bargain, right? All of this was stated, I think, for this one, because in the London session of Tuesday, wanted to buy, but price didn't get to our area for US 30, right? And then on New York session, that same day, we flipped the script and then started looking for sales. And then luckily, price got here exactly. I think for me, I exited around somewhere here, right? 4:4.5. So if you leverage this on your MT4, $10 is $40.5, $100 is 400 or $450, right? $10 will be $45, 100 will be $450. $1,000 leverage with this setup will be 4,500, right? And we got a very good win, right? While we're looking for sales on US 30, we did analysis for buy on S&P 500 and what's it called? US 30 and US 100, sorry. Trying to see if I can get that zone again. Market has really pushed. Trying to see where I can get. Okay, yeah, this is it here. Is it? Let me use a two. Very good two. Okay. 30 minutes. I remember. Remember clearly, we said we're going to buy from this zone. For those that were live with the setup, you can agree with me that were on that Zoom call, you can agree with me. We use this zone as well, sweep of liquidity to the upside. All right. Price is going to induce liquidity from here, and then what happened next? We took our long position. I was tagged in already from this zone, and then SL just beneath this zone. It was our overall TP. And in fact, in that Zoom call, I think I gave overall TP as this zone. Probably here, no, not to here, somewhere around here. I think so. Yes. Overall TP should be somewhere around here. And then look at what the market did. Went to the upside with massive, can't remember exactly. Just so it was around 4R on this particular trade setup. And then market came up, still dug a bit into the other block, and finally started moving. Okay, I remember what happened. I used the body of the other block. That's why we were not picked on the first time, right? I remember now. I remember now. We used the body of the other block, and then price didn't pick up the first time because of broker and the whole drama. The second time, price really dug into the other block, and then that sent it to the upside. So we had almost the same thing. Yeah, the same thing on this guy on US 100. The same setup, right? The same setup. US 100. The same thing. Look at what price did. Liquidity sweep, and then price really, pushed up. So anybody on that Zoom call will have made at least nothing less than, this is 4R, under 4R, plus another 4.5, right? Getting us up to 13 or 12 point something, 12.6, 12.8, 13R. That's a good one on Tuesday alone. So what is everything has happened. We've made money on Tuesday. What are we looking at for today? The market is now clearly what? Market has broken structure to the upside, right? Market has broken structure to the upside here in the daily time frame. Broken structure to the upside. And what does that tell us? Saying we are looking for buys alone. We're looking for what? Buys alone in this market. Sorry. So just this. Okay, we're looking for buys in this market. Market has tested this other block and dug into it. I believe this other block is now fully mitigated because price has dug up to 50% of this other block. So it is fully mitigated now, right? And then price is trying to what? Push to the upside, right? Price has even pushed to the upside. However, it is also reacting from this what? Breaker block. Yeah, it is struggle between buyers and sellers, right? Sellers are here. This or previously other block that price violated strongly is the one sending price down now. But then we also have this level, this new level that has not been mitigated before, which is this zone here on the daily time frame, has not been mitigated before. So what do I expect from this? What do I expect from this? Let me go to the lower time frame, the 4-hour time frame. All right. So price already in a way mitigated this level. Price already in a way has mitigated this level before now, right? So what is that telling me? That is telling me that most likely it will not hold. This sell that is selling currently will not hold, right? And because we've broken structure, let me delete all of this joint. Because we've broken structure already also on the lower time frame to the upside, this is a very significant level that has not been tested before, right? This is a signal level that has not been tested before. this is also another significant level that price broke through. Strong level, but price broke through it, meaning most likely we might see price, start returning the bullishness from this zone, right? On the 1 hour time frame, what am I looking at in the 1 hour time frame? Okay, 1 hour time frame, price has dug into this zone, but then we have not broken structure yet to the upside. We've not seen any clear break of structure to the upside. 45 minutes, no clear break of structure yet to the upside, right? On the 30 minutes, let me look at 15 minutes. Okay, on 15 minutes, it as though we've broken microstructure to the upside. But then this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do, guys, today. I want to see a break above this zone. A break above this zone. That will give me the confidence I need to take trades in this market. A break above this zone, solid break above this zone, that will now make me just continue my push to the upside. So for today, I'm not really expecting anything much. I expect the market to be bullish, continue the bullish in its initial direction, but then I need to see a break above this zone that will now, further send price in its original direction. You can see this looks like a what's it called now? Like a flag, right? Like a flag, like a wedge, anyone you use, most likely a flag, right? Want to see a break above this, and then it will continue pushing price in its original direction. Also, but then something really interesting is what I'm seeing now. We have this other block that has not been mitigated yet on this time frame here. This time frame here. This other block has not been mitigated, and it is solid. It is really, really solid. So there's another thing which we might see price just dig into this and then fly up, right? That's also another possibility. Price might dig into this other block and then fly to the upside. Something like this, the same setup we had last week. To use this as liquidity, dig into this and then move up. Something like, all right. That's if we don't see that break above here, right? So this is another possibility if price doesn't break above here. If it continues to stand to the downside, it's a beautiful thing. Let it come to this zone and then we enter from this zone, and then overall we take out all of this liquidity at this zone. So this is what I'm looking at for today. You have almost the same thing on S&P 500, right? You have almost the same thing on S&P 500. Why am I bullish? Because the market overall on the daily time frame is still very much bullish, right? So the market cannot be bullish on the daily time frame, and I'm looking for active sales, right? Even if I'm selling on a very or I'm capitalizing on the minor trend, right? It's not something long term. And that's why you see the sell on US 30 didn't stay for long. We couldn't hold that trade for long. The moment we saw 1:2, in fact, the moment I saw 1:3, I was already thinking, should I close? Okay, let me hold a bit, because price still had a little, wrong way to the downside. So I held a bit, did 1:4.5. I was already out, 1:4.5. The moment it was going even 1:5, I'm like, fine and good, I'm comfortable, right? Because this trend is a minor trend, right? You don't want to be caught on the wrong side of the market. All right, that being said, that's pretty much it for this morning. If you have any question, let's ask a question. Any form of question, Toby, Galaxy A, from Augustine, Ezekiel, Anna, Saratin. If you have any question, you can type in the comment section. You can ask your question, right? In the absence of no question, please be reminded our FX Bootcamp training is currently ongoing. Yesterday was the 1, today is the 2. You can still join, or if you're already a student of the academy, be reminded, right? Classes start by 10 a.m. this morning. So ensure you join in, and if you are a new student, either you pay to join or you prepare for the next edition that will be coming up very soon. Thank you so much this morning for joining. We see again by 2 p.m. actually in the afternoon, where we look at this setup and see if there's anything that's changed, any bias that changed, and then we align ourselves in the direction of the market. All right, guys, I wish you a profitable trading. Cheers and God bless everyone.